Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about my holding in Bitcoin. For the first time ever, I now have half a Bitcoin. The question is, how much money have I made and what are my plans for the future? We'll get to all of that, but first we're going to talk about the stocks in my portfolio and the total portfolio performance this week. On the day, we can see I'm up nearly 2.5%, which is awesome, or about $800. Total portfolio value is now $34,750. Over the past week, I am up over 11%, or $3,500. Over the past month, up 18%, or $5,000. 3 months, almost 100% return, or up $17,000. All time now up $22,200, or rather in the last year, and all time now up $21,915, or 171%. Total investment in the portfolio is now $12,850. I deposited another $150 last week, and I utilized the margin position in my portfolio. Made a couple of moves. The first move was buying 2 more shares of Coca-Cola, or KO, at $50.44 a piece, or $188. Second, I purchased 1 more share of SPHD. Of course, I really like that one. That's the largest stock holding in my portfolio. Price there was $40.33. Last, I purchased $100 worth of Bitcoin, and that pushed me over the 1/2 of a single Bitcoin. Quantity there was 0.00208. Total cost was $100, and the new position is 0.5001. Price there was $48,074.62. Now we'll talk about the stocks in my portfolio, and here at the end we will talk about Bitcoin. Real quick, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. I'm coming up on 200 subscribers, which is a huge milestone for me. First stock for today is going to be Penn National Gaming. This is by far the biggest gain in my portfolio right now, percentage-wise, and I believe total return-wise if you exclude Bitcoin. So the total return here is $967.90, or about 250%, which is just crazy on those 11 shares. Over the past month, we can see it's up about 6%, or rather on the week. Over the past month, up about 8%. 3 months, up 64%. Past year, up 460%, and past 5 years now up 755%. Penn National Gaming, of course, struggled in March of last year, as many companies did, but with sports being gone and casinos having to close, this tumbled all the way down to about $4, and I was able to buy some shares, not quite that low, but in the $10 to $15 range, which has helped out a ton. My average cost is $35.36. We can see the average trading volume here is about 5 million shares a day. The price to earnings ratio does not show because they lost money the past quarter, or one of the past quarters, which makes those calculations not work. It does not currently pay a dividend, but I'm not super concerned with that, especially with the tremendous growth. We can see there's still a 59% buy rating here, and the earnings are looking decent despite Q2 of 2020 being horrific. I think this is a long-term player, really good growth here, and if nothing else, I'm going to hold my position in Penn National Gaming. Second stock for today is going to be Coca-Cola, trading at $51.45. We can see my total return is almost nothing, almost completely flat. If we take a look here over the past year, we can see why. So over the past month, it's up 3%. 3 months down about 2.5%. Past year, it's down 2%, and 5 years now, it's up about 17%. So we can see Coca-Cola was doing tremendous here in the beginning of 2020, as many companies were, trading for about $60 and dipped all the way down here to about $38. Big problem is no concerts, no sports games, restaurants had to close. Coca-Cola just was hurting a ton. It only makes up about 2% of my portfolio, and the question is, why did I choose to purchase 2 more shares? Those 17 shares are going to have a dividend here pretty soon. We can see the dividend yield is about 3.2%, and if we scroll down here, we can see, first of all, that the earnings are trending downwards slightly, but there are reasons to believe that they're going to be successful in the future. The main thing there being that they have the track record of success in the past. I know that's not a great indicator, but I think it's definitely worth noting. We can see this last dividend in December of 2020. I had 15 shares at that point. The amount there was 41 cents a share for a total of $6.15. I may be purchasing an additional share of Coca-Cola here before the execution date on that dividend. But the big point is that the dividend per share is upping to 42 cents this year. They increase their dividends every single year. So I'll receive a minimum payment of around $7, which will be my largest dividend ever. I'm very happy about that. Next stock is going to be AT&T, which I think has a very similar trajectory and reasoning as Coca-Cola. I don't think they're in quite as good a position. That being said, the dividend here is terrific. So it's trading right at $30 a share right now. On the week, we can see it is up about 4%. Past month, up 5%. 3 months down slightly. Over the past year, down 14%. And 5 years now, down about 20%. AT&T has had their struggles as of recent. But as I've noted in many of my videos in the past, I think the play here is really the small number of phone providers in the United States. With the merger between Sprint and T-Mobile, it's down to 3 companies really: AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. So if AT&T can really try to bite into the market of those other 2, I think they're in a great position. Their earnings are pretty solid. Total return is down almost 5% all time here, which is not great, but the dividend yield is almost 7%. So we scroll down to the earnings, we can see that they're solid. They're almost $1 per share over the past 7 quarters, which is very good to see. Their dividend instead of cutting their dividend, they decided to keep their dividend where it is. So for this year, it's going to continue to be 52 cents a share, but at 7%, I think there's tons of room here for solid growth, both in terms of the share price and the return on that dividend. So I am going to keep AT&T in the portfolio and potentially buy more shares here in the future. Apple is one of the newest holdings in my portfolio and one of the smallest stock-wise. So we can see it's trading for just a smidge under $120 a share. My total return is down about 7% on Apple. It's not due to a lack of performance on Apple's part. It's really poor timing of when I purchased. That being said, Warren Buffett has always made the point that time in the market is significantly more important than timing the market itself. Over the past week, it is down 1.5%. Past month, down 11%, which is a little crazy. 3 months, down about 2%. Past year, it is still up about 73%, and 5 years, up 370%. Again, I'm not super concerned. Apple is looking good for the long term, in my opinion. The big issue was that I purchased when it was peaking here at about $140 a share. So I did lose a little bit of money on that so far. Dividend yield is below 1%, but there's tons of room for growth there. The price to earnings ratio is only about 31, so it is a smidge high compared to the S&P 500 as a whole. Right now, I believe the price to earnings ratio for the whole of the S&P 500 is about 22. That is high, but not crazy compared to some companies. Strong buy rating here on Robinhood. Interesting enough, Morningstar says only a 2-star rating here. I should read some more into that, and I definitely will. That being said, the earnings are decently strong, and again, that dividend has continued to grow the past few years, so I like my position in Apple. Last stock for today is going to be Sony, trading just over $100. We can see my total return is up about 81% or $90. The average cost is down below $56 a share. Of course, I wish I would have purchased more shares now looking at this return. That being said, I am very happy with it. On the day, we can see it was pretty flat. Past week, flat. Past month, down about 11%. 3 months, up 7%. Past year, up 71%, and 5 years, up 340%. Sony does pay a dividend, and I've mentioned it a few times in my previous videos. Because they're a foreign company, the way their dividends are taxed is slightly different. This means that they do not have qualified dividends, therefore you will not receive long-term capital gains tax rates on your dividends after holding it for a year. That is something to consider, but the dividend yield is extremely low, so it's not something that we're super concerned about. The price to earnings ratio is extremely low at only 12.11, so that's something good that we're seeing out of Sony. Very strong analyst buy rating, 3 stars from Morningstar, and we can see their earnings are trending upward, very good direction, so I'm super duper happy about that. I will be holding on to Sony and potentially buying more shares. Just don't know what I want to do with this one. I believe it is now the second smallest stock holding in my portfolio. I promise we'll get to Bitcoin, but the last thing we'll talk about before Bitcoin is Ethereum. I have a much smaller position here, but the total return is still great. It's up about 48% or $113. Average cost is down there at about $1,200, and my equity is about $350. That has me sitting at 0.2 Ethereum roughly. Over the past week, we can see it's up about 16%. Past month, up 3%. 3 months, up 220. Past year, up about 800%, and as we'll soon see, that is actually outpacing Bitcoin. And over the past 5 years now, significantly outpacing Bitcoin with about 18,670% return, or up about 1774. The play here is that Ethereum is going to move slightly differently than Bitcoin. I think cryptocurrency makes a lot of sense, particularly right now, and especially for the future. The question is going to be how much is the remaining potential for return in something like Ethereum, but I think it offsets my position in Bitcoin. So I think I will definitely be purchasing more, but Bitcoin will be the largest holding in this portfolio for some time to come. Here we are, I promised it. Bitcoin is now trading at $55,286. My equity is $27,638. My cost is down at $10,243.56. It means my total return is now up $17,400 or 170%. That means I've almost tripled my return on my purchases of Bitcoin. My average cost is $20,482. And as I mentioned previously, the quantity is now just a smidge over 0.5 Bitcoins. This has taken me over 2 years of buying Bitcoin every single week and holding on to it. It's been slow, it's been painful, it's definitely been stressful, but obviously it has worked out, and the plan here is going to be to hold that Bitcoin until the end of the year. For the past week, we can see Bitcoin's up 13%. Past month is now up 24%. 3 months up just over 200%. Past year up 600%. And 5 years now up about 13,000%. I'm very interested to know what you guys think about Bitcoin. Do you think the price is going to reach the $300,000 to $500,000 that certain analysts are talking about? Do you think this is going to be the peak? Do you think it's somewhere in the $100,000 range? There's all sorts of guesses, and I think it's very, very interesting to talk about. But my plan as of right now is to hold this Bitcoin and to continue purchasing more if possible until December. That's it for this week's video. Thanks, and I'll be back with another one next week.